The Chiefs have been doing lots of moves this offseason, but this move right here is definitely the most unique move they've done. I say unique since this isn't ever really done before, and it has happened, but it's rare a professional rugby player leaves their sport to try to compete in the NFL. Rees-Zammit was a professional rugby player and played for Gloucester Rugby of Premiership Rugby. That is the highest division of rugby in England and has been playing there since 2018. He was a rising star in the sport, but always had a lifelong want to play in the NFL. He said his dad played American football and has always wanted to go out and give it a try and see if he could even have the opportunity to. Well, the opportunity for Luis came as he entered the NFL's International Player Pathway Pro Day last week, where he ran an impressive 4.4 that led him a handful of visits from other teams, which eventually landed him a 3-year deal from the reigning back-to-back champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. And if there wasn't a better spot for him, if anybody could find a way to use a rugby star, it would be Andy Reid. Him going to the Chiefs was probably the best situation for him. The Chiefs have him listed as of now a running back / wide receiver, and I could see him using him for kickoff returns, especially with the new rules. Luis is going to find a lot of success with the new kicking rules and how it all works. It's similar to how he'd run on the open field in a rugby game. I can definitely see him progressing into an offensive piece, but I think for now he will just be on the special teams to get a feel for the game and running with pads on and all of that. Because yes, he is really quick, but he's also used to playing his sport without pads on, and that actually does add on weight to you, but I don't think it'll slow him down too much. The Chiefs already do this a ton, where they pick up or draft players and have them be developmental their first year and learn as much as they can, and then eventually progress into a starter or key piece to the team. We even saw them do this with Mahomes as he sat behind Alex Smith his first season. Brett Veach has proven time after time that each and every signing and draft pick he makes is highly researched and educated. Brett Veach, ever since he started making the draft picks for the Chiefs, has had so much success. He's drafted guys like Mahomes, Pacheco, Creed Humphrey, Trent McDuffie, L'Jarius Sneed, and a bunch of others. We have to remember this was the youngest defense in the league last year, and a lot of those guys came for the draft, but it needs to also be known they had a pretty young defense as well outside of Kelsey and Joe Thuney. But the rest of the offense is still pretty young, especially when it came to the receivers. That's why before last season, they weren't even sure how the young receivers would do. The Chiefs still do have a pretty young offense, but they have so much more depth now, and especially with young guys like Pacheco and Rice who will continue to help elevate this offense. It'll definitely be interesting to see what the Chiefs can do with Luis, as he has a ton of potential and passion for the game and wants to find success in the NFL. I'm sure he will start training in the facilities, and possibly Mahomes will have him for some off-season workouts like he's been doing already with Rasheed and Hollywood Brown. Mahomes has already seen working out with Hollywood Brown and Rasheed Rice the day after he signed with the Chiefs. He just wants to build as much rapport as possible with the offense before going into the season next year. They do not want to lead the league in drops again and still have a solid group, and I see them having a much better year offensively. Luis will continue working out and improving this offseason as well to prepare him for the season. He spent a bunch of times at IMG completing the whole player pathway program as well. Now that he's officially signed with the team, he'll be able to continue training. Only 5 players who joined the players pathway program have made the active roster spot, so hopefully he will work his way up to a starting spot. Andy Reid is the perfect coach for Luis to thrive with, especially having guys like Kelsey who love to lateral it backwards. You never know what you could expect to see him with on the roster. The NFL made a rule last year saying there could be a 17th man on the practice squad intended for national players. They can be brought up to play up to 3 times during the season. Whether he gets brought up those 3 times or is actively on this roster, he brings a unique and fast skill set to this offense and to the NFL. Like I mentioned, he already was a very successful rugby player and would have continued to find success in the sport, but decided to take his talents to the NFL, and what better way to prove yourself than with the defending back-to-back champions. The Chiefs are known for their trick plays and unique play calls to help them win games. We even saw them win back-to-back Super Bowls off a play called Corn Dog. This just shows how far apart the Chiefs front office is from a lot of other teams when it comes to signing, scouting, and developing players. Luis thrived in rugby and even had visits with the Browns, Broncos, and Jets, but the Chiefs wanted to give him a chance since they saw the potential in him. Just how they signed guys like Matt Ariza, who has so much potential, but a lot of teams are afraid to take a chance on. The Chiefs are always willing to take a chance on players and develop them into core pieces of the team, whichever side of the field they are on. So bringing in a skill set like Luis, especially with the rule changes, this will help out the Chiefs a ton if he progresses into a good player. I have no doubt, I think he's going to find success, especially since he has the motivation from his dad who played American football. I think that just that alone is going to help push him, but he can also set a huge example for all international players. He's in the biggest spotlight, so it'll be exciting to see what he can do in this system. He is very quick, and the Chiefs love their fast players on offense. I just just wonder if he'll play as a running back or receiver since it still isn't listed. He definitely could get the feel for both positions. Seeing him and Pacheco in the backfield would be really fun, or even seeing him on the jet sweeps or other trick plays. The Chiefs don't even necessarily have to draft a wide receiver in the first round anymore since they keep adding depth to this offense. They kept the defense solid as well. Even though losing Snead hurts, it frees up a ton of cap space and the Chiefs will be able to eventually fill in that gap. I mentioned in my last video how having Trent McDuffie as well is game changing. If Xavier Worthy or Adonai Mitchell isn't available by the time the Chiefs need to make their selection, I'm not sure they would make one in the first round picking a wide receiver. They would probably end up drafting one later on in the draft, but I could definitely see them possibly drafting another corner or a tackle in the first round, if not a wide receiver. They need to make sure the offensive line, well, you know, Jawan Taylor does not have as many flag problems next season, so they need to do what they can in the draft, shaping that. Free agency seems to be wrapping up as there are still plenty of free agents available, and the Chiefs do have money now. They've gone and re-signed and signed the right pieces so far this offseason to set them up for their three-peat quest. Making additions like Lewis prove why this team has the best shot to three-peat. Andy Reid is already known for having his unique coaching style, so seeing him and Luis together is going to be exciting. The Chiefs are able to bring on a lot of depth to this offense and bringing in unique skill sets for Mahomes to use. When you have the best quarterback in the world, you have to do what you can to keep that offense special and high producing. We've been so used to the Chiefs offense going out there and having the deepest, longest throwing plays. The last few seasons, it hasn't looked like that, but they're shaping back into an offense that can really be a threat. Bringing in guys like Lewis separates the rest of the team because he's so quick and could be a fullback even. I see a lot of guys talking about how he could be a fullback, and I definitely could see the Chiefs building him into one. He has a bigger body type. He's like over 200. I think he's like 220. He's very quick. I could definitely see him using that. But him and Pacheco in the backfield is a very nice duo together. I can see that being nicely done already. And he could definitely spread the floor with his speed. And especially in the kickoffs, I'm really excited to see him be used in the kickoff rule because the Chiefs will definitely use him to their advantage with that. It'll be interesting to see if he will be able to make the 53-man roster this season. The Chiefs definitely have some moves and decisions to make. They just brought back guys like Mike Dana, so who knows who they're going to give the last few spots to. They also have to take the draft into consideration as well. If Luis was to make the 53-man roster, though, it would make sense since he could be on the special teams and be used with the new kicking rule. I think that is his best ability for now as he gets a better feel for the game. He's going to be learning as much as possible very quickly too because he does have a passion for the game and he's going to continue to learn and improve into a better player. I could definitely see him being used more and more in this offense, but he has to go out there and show that he's ready to compete and ready to learn and adjust to what he needs to. It's a completely different atmosphere and environment than what he's used to, but he's with the right program and coaches to help him adjust. He's got good leaders and good coaching staff around him to help him develop into the player that he wants to become, and it'll just be exciting overall to see what he can do for all international players. This is big for the NFL in general because he can turn out really nicely and be showcased on the best team in the NFL. This is a good look for the international players.